Hey everybody, welcome to Pixelblips podcast. I'm Andy Ryan. Joining me as always my co-host Dave DeWart. Dave, what have you been playing this week?
So everybody who's anybody who's been playing the Destiny beta,
Yes.
it's available for the rest of today. So by the time this gets up, you probably won't be able to play it.
It's probably no longer available.
They did. So I played probably a good 6 or 7 hours of that, and with the vertical slice that they gave us in the alpha, this isn't a whole lot more. It's just more story stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been opening the Iron Banner, which is I don't know. It's another competitive multiplayer mode. So instead of point capture, I'm guessing it's capture the flag.
It looks like capture the flag.
That's what it sounds like. But then today was the tease. Ever since you get into the beta, you can look and see. Oh, there's a mission on the moon, and that was the tease. That was the end of the beta. Was here, guys. You can go to the moon and run around and do this story mission on the moon. And I haven't had a chance to play it, so hopefully I'll get a chance to play it before the beta closes tonight.
I might do that just because I want to see how the moon works.
Well, apparently the physics. I've read some stuff. The physics are all the same.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb. But I figure the one thing I
Dear Bungie, the moon has a different amount of gravity
yes,
than we do.
as does Venus.
As does Venus.
As does Mars.
As does
pretty much
every
everything.
Planet
Yeah,
has a different.
Nope. Venus is close.
For the
it's
gravity
like 80% of what we have.
For gravity to be the same as it is on Earth, the planet needs to be of near identical size
and
mass, and rotation.
Roughly, yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
as we
Venus,
go back to
Venus is like
astronomy.
Venus is like 95% of the size of Earth, but it's only 80% of the gravity.
Yeah.
Because of whatever's inside of it isn't not as massive. And
Venus is
not massive.
Venus is a planet made out of molten rock and gas. Whereas our rock's not that molten.
But in the Destiny universe, it's been terraformed somehow. So anyway.
I always feel like the hardest hurdle is terraforming Mars. I feel like once we do that, I mean, that's kind of like Columbus discovering...
No. The hardest hurdle is getting some government agency to want to back a mission to Mars.
Well, yes. But anyway, so my view of interplanetary travel is the same as, like, colonial era, the era of exploration is, like, once Columbus hit the Caribbean, and we had an outpost that were like, okay, floodgates open. Yeah. So once we terraform Mars, we're going to be like, okay, floodgates open. We can.
I'd be
happy with the gaseous
base.
Giants. We can terraform most things.
Well, I don't.
Can you imagine terraforming Saturn?
There's no physical. There's probably
there's a center to Saturn somewhere.
Yeah, but it's probably liquid.
Is it?
It's probably not rocky. Same with Jupiter. It's probably talking about science. I mean, it would be easier to probably terraform or make Titan somewhat livable, its moon, versus the planet itself. Yeah. Like, outside of the outside of Mars,
time out.
You're
outside of a giant, space monolith showing up and saying,
this is how you do this.
Do not land on Europa. You can have all other planets, but do not land on Europa. Yeah. Probably no terraforming.
Yeah, no.
Attempt no landing here.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean... to break that, because my wife hates it when I do this in movies, but to break down Destiny, it's like, okay, I can see them trying to make expansions to go to the other, like to go to the moons or whatever.
Well, Ganymede would be different because it's all liquid, so you'd be on boats.
Ganymede?
Yeah, it's core, and then it's surrounded by liquid. Yeah, that's how it. Yeah.
All of the Jovian moons have solid surfaces.
Really?
Yeah, Europa is all ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost 100% ice. Ganymede, and as far as the big four, like Io is volcanic as hell because of it's going like this because of Jupiter's gravity.
I knew that.
And
Io is also the one from Doom 2, right?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Trying
to bring this back.
Science fiction.
Trying to bring this back to video games. But no, like
Ganymede and Cowboy Bebop is all liquid. That's why.
Yeah, but maybe that's
I was
does that actually take place in our solar system, or does it take place in a solar system similar to ours?
Cowboy Bebop's our solar system.
No, I'm pretty sure with Ganymede.
Post jump gates.
And what is that other big one? There's 4 of them.
Europa, Io, Ganymede, Titan.
Titan is Saturn.
I
don't remember. Anyway, The big four, from what we can gather, all have solid surfaces because one of them has like this giant gash on the front of it. And I believe that's Ganymede. I could look it up, but anyway. Either way, Destiny, Bungie's done a pretty good job so far with everything in Destiny. The only thing that really bums me out is that the gravities aren't different. I can see why they don't do that in multiplayer because that would really screw up everybody.
Yeah.
But in single player, you know. But then again,
especially
if you double jump
that pre-sequel.
Yeah, and it takes place on
the moon
of Pandora.
Pandora.
I mean, I see why they're doing it because if you were to double jump on the moon, you would just float away.
Yes.
So
you would be able to get outside of its gravitational pull.
Yeah, probably. But it's been a lot of fun, and
that would be awesome though if you double jump and then you're floating away. And you have to like stop yourself.
Yeah, you have to use your jump jets again to slow down. And,
or like
turn yourself upside down and shoot yourself down towards the ground.
Yeah, you would basically have to like use your gun to shoot yourself towards the ground because even if you shot like a grappling hook.
Mm-hmm.
The force of the shot of the grappling hook
would push you back.
Push you back even further.
The grappling hook would probably just stay, and you would.
It would. The grappling hook itself would have to have a second propulsion system on it to get it to where it needs to go.
Like a little rocket.
Yeah.
Oh, physics. This turned into Science Sunday.
I was playing my asteroids machine yesterday.
Yeah.
Speaking of physics, it since the roof leaked in there, the top has shorted out.
Aww.
I was really bummed because I turned out and did that weird electronic hum sound.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to do a gravity adjustment on it, lift it up a quarter of an inch and drop it.
Oh.
And it came on.
Awesome.
But I'll have to fix the top part of it.
Oh, and I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls too. I've been streaming most of what I've been doing, and it's freaking Dark Souls. I mean, I don't know if they've changed.
Have you been playing the expansion pack?
No. I haven't got that far yet. It seems like I'm having an easier time with Dark Souls 2 than I had with 1 or with Demon Souls, and I don't know if that's because, Dark Souls is a known quantity to me now.
Yeah, and the core group that made Demon Souls
also has worked on a lot of those other games.
Yeah, like, it's not the core, like, I would say, I'm just going to give it a random number. That's only 90% of the core group that worked on Dark Souls, and now that's only like 30% of the core group that worked on Dark Souls.
It's gotten smaller because From Software is working on other crap.
Yeah, and now From Software has pulled everyone back from the original Demon Souls into Bloodborne.
Yeah.
So that's why Dark Souls 2, I think
it's just it's a known quantity. I know that I can't just God of War this mode and run in and just chop everything up. You have to take your time. You have to be slow about stuff. But I feel like the way that I play, and if you've watched my stream, you see that I turtle monsters, right? Like, I just get behind a shield, because I got a shield that blocks 100% damage, and I just go, okay, tap, tap, and then back off for a minute, and then let my stamina regen and whatever. And
so are you going to go with Lords of the Fallen in the fall?
The Lord of the Rings game?
December, right? December's Lords of the Fallen? Or October? There's a bunch of shit coming in October. It's one of those months. No, Lords of the Fallen is that one that's like Dark Souls as made by European developers.
I know what you're talking about. It just depends on what's coming out because, we've got a lot of crap coming out in the back end of this year and we've got a lot of stuff coming out for a lot of systems. Like, I'm probably going to pick up Destiny at some point. I may cancel my pre-order with Amazon just because I don't want to pick it up right when it comes out because, if you've played an MMO, you know how MMOs go. Server crashes abound.
But that's why I canceled my Destiny pre-order, is that as I was playing more of the beta, it feels like an MMO.
Yeah.
And my experiences with MMOs have always been positive up to a point, and then, like, I have a dead fall off.
Yeah. Well, I
just don't want to spend $60 on something that I know I'm not going to go back to.
Well, okay, so my whole problem with Destiny, and I like Destiny. It's not a bad game. I enjoyed what I played.
Destiny's a good game.
Mechanically, it is sound. It is fun to play. I don't like first-person shooters on the console very much.
Halo should be.
And I still like this game. It just feels like
Destiny feels like what Halo 4 should be.
Destiny is Halo the MMO.
Yeah.
My problem is it has all the fun stuff of the first-person shooters and the fun exploration mode and things like that, but it also has the grindy, here, go farm me 10 bear asses quests, or or the reputation quest that you just have to grind out, and you just run around in an area for 7 hours at a time, and grind up rep, and
that is like actually what I was doing when I was like, I'm not gonna buy this day one.
Yeah, I mean they're fun. The missions are fun, and the random strike missions are pretty good. I was playing yesterday.
Are really fun.
Yeah. I was playing yesterday, and I got one where it was like, oh, you need to go kill this target in 2 minutes. And it wasn't like one of those big spider tanks. It was a regular captain who just had his stats boosted to hell. And it took me and like 4 other guys to kill him, but we got, we killed him in under 2 minutes or whatever, and we got the gold rank. And I guess when you get a gold rank on one of those public events, they give you crafting mats, which obviously you can't do anything with yet because you don't have crafting in the beta. But, there's a lot of really fun stuff. Like public events are something that I always wish that World of Warcraft would have done. But they never did because they I guess it was too hard for them to implement, or they were putting their developmental resources elsewhere.
The only MMO that I've seen do public events interestingly is Matrix Online. When they had like the actual actors come in and be Morpheus.
And do the voice acting and things like that.
They would like come in and like talk to you and stuff like that, and then like things would always erupt out of that. Like, well, Morpheus would show up, try and rally the red pill people, and like the agents would come in and fight.
And then you would just have to
Morpheus.
take them out.
And then you'd be like side to side with this guy playing Morpheus.
Yeah. Rift did it pretty good too. Like whenever the rifts would open up, it would escalate, right? Like the more people that were there, the bigger the event would get. So everybody would rush to this so that this big monster boss would spawn, and then you'd take it out, and everybody would get loot and whatever.
The only thing I liked more about the Matrix was that it progressed the story.
Yeah, this is just
Matrix Online is still the only MMO that I feel has a story, which is contrary to what MMO should be.
Yeah.
Because like if you're, if the game's been out for a year and a half and you jump into it, you now have so much backstory to suck in.
Yeah. And it's really funny because especially in like the MMO space, one of the guys I work with is in the Landmark, that EverQuest Next Landmark, which I think they just said, screw that, we're just going to call it Landmark because it's too confusing for people. And I guess they're giving them AI control so they can, for the most part, make content. And in a, what was it, that Lego MMO style, right? Where you make the dungeons and whatever. It's all made out of voxels, and it's super processor intensive. So like everybody in his house who's playing the game had to buy new hardware and things like that. But I think Landmark is coming to the PS4 eventually, so that'll be kind of fun. And I guess if you make something that SOE likes, they'll buy it off of you.
Interesting.
And use it in EverQuest Next. But you know what? I've been talking for a while about games I've been playing. Andy, what have you been doing?
So it's been Comic-Con, so they've had a lot of Comic-Con superhero-related sales going on. And I went to the dark side. So I'm a huge Street Fighter fan. I'm also a huge Marvel Comics fan. But when it came to $9 for Injustice, Gods Among Us on the PlayStation 4, I was like, cool. That's my barrier of entry. I will check this out.
For less than $10, Andy will play a DC game.
Yeah, I will play a DC Mortal Kombat game.
Yeah, because that's what that is.
Two different.
How are the environmental effects? Like I know there are like weird interactions you can have with the environment.
You kind of, as I'm playing through the story mode right now, which once again, Mortal Kombat 9. I really like the story mode.
Yeah,
I hated everything else about that game. I really like the story.
I hated everything. I don't know about everything. I mean, if you like the story mode is basically just every Mortal Kombat game up to that point redone.
And I really like that. And I feel like, I was thinking about this earlier this week, I feel like Konami needs to do that to the original Castlevanias. And start on like Castlevania 1, 2, and 3 are one game. And we redo them.
Yeah.
And then Castlevania,
like in the 2D sprite style, Symphony of the Night, or are you talking like
the Symphony?
Bring it up into what Strider is on the PS4?
That.
Bring it up to Strider.
Bring up Strider. So and then go forward and do Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night. Package them together, and then do the Game Boy games. Package them together, and basically use that to reaffirm the storyline in a better way than they've done with Lords of Shadow. Because now Lords of Shadow is basically done. And I was like, wait, why did you guys do that? You rebooted Castlevania and then finished it? No, that's not how this goes.
Well, I mean, I liked I would like to see. I don't know. Symphony of the Night is.
I want to see Simon's Quest redone because there's a lot of ideas in that game that are really good that I think
need to
merit.
Be examined again, re-explored,
and they need to be done. You could do it better. Like everyone always complains that the last dungeon of Simon's Quest has nobody in it, but there's a purpose to that, and that's like they were trying to tell the story of like the first Castlevania, you destroy the Castlevania.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then in Simon's Quest, you have to bring, all of Dracula's parts back to where you killed him in the destroyed Castlevania. Well, of course, no one's going to live in a destroyed castle. No one's going to want to live even around where Dracula showed up the first time.
Yeah.
So, of course, that's all empty. But, like, people miss that because of a horrible translation and other things.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's a NES game.
Yeah.
But I think if you repackaged 1, 2, and 3 together and did like the Belmont trilogy basically,
and then the Richter Alucard duo, and then
and then like the Game Boy Advance games were like all the ones up to Aria of Sorrow, where it's the guy in the future, and then did like Order of Ecclesia and Portrait of Ruins and packaged them together, and then did Aria of Sorrow, and so you can kind of make these things all fit in a new timeline. And even going back and putting in like, the Lament of Innocence, you're making Lament of Innocence and Legends and Harmony of Dissonance. Not Harmony of Dissonance. What was the one on the PS2 with the guy? You weren't a Belmont anyway, and making those work in the timeline, like getting everything shooken together.
I mean, I haven't played a lot of Castlevania games, right? Like, I own the one for the PS3, one of the ones for the PS3, the first one.
Lords of Shadow.
Lords of Shadow.
There's Lords of Shadow, Mirror of Fate, and Lords of Shadow 2.
Yeah. And I own Symphony of the Night. Like, those are the only two I've played. And honestly, Symphony of the Night is still my favorite of all of them. But that's because PS1 era, side-scrolling.
Yeah, I mean, Symphony of the Night is probably my favorite, but, like, all of them have merit.
Yeah.
Like, I think
I
Dracula's Curse, Castlevania 3, and
I mean, would they run into
Rondo of Blood kind of fit really well together?
Yeah.
As like sequels. Super Castlevania 4 doesn't fit anywhere because it's just like a redone.
Well, I mean, would they run into the same issue that we have with like the original Mega Mans as far as like these games were made for the NES, so you can't remake them or you can't repackage them?
They made versions of them for the MSX and other systems.
Okay. I didn't know if that would be an issue because I know that was an issue with like the Mega Mans.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of problems with like the translation, like the ghost that you can partner up with in Castlevania 3 is supposed to be the ancestor of one of the characters in Castlevania 64. Okay. But because the translation didn't go correctly, they both have different names, and that plot line's totally lost.
Huh. Well, that sucks.
There's a lot of stuff between Bloodlines and Portrait of Ruins that isn't fixed. So anyway, that was off topic. So Injustice Gods Among Us. One of the reasons I don't like DC Comics is the superheroes are too super. If that
they're basically gods.
Yeah.
Like, most of them can't die except for this one tiny little thing.
Even like Batman is kind of super competent. Like, in a way that is unbelievable. That he always has a plan and a backup plan and a backup plan to the backup plan and on forever.
Planception.
But the core to this is epitomized in Superman. And this is a little side note why I didn't like Man of Steel is that like Superman doesn't kill people because Superman's the only person that can make sure no one dies.
Yeah.
Like if a building's falling, like if he's fighting Zod and he crashes into an office building, he's fast enough that he can get everyone out of that office building before it crumbles.
But I mean, when you think about that, he's fast enough to do it, but people would not survive the speed he would have to go to get them out of the building.
Yeah, but then you're applying realistic physics to
a guy flying around in his underwear. Yeah, I know.
It's like when people are like, I don't want to see Guardians of the Galaxy because it's not realistic enough.
Why? Because there's a giant talking tree and a raccoon?
It's like, it's not as realistic as Captain America. You're like, wait, we're talking about the
Super Soldier.
Super Soldier with the flying helicarriers and the two dudes chrono froze.
Yeah, cryo froze.
Yeah. Like, none of this is realistic.
Yeah, and
even the guy in
it's funny because like
even Iron Man, the Steve Jobs inside the giant robot suit of armor, is still Steve Jobs inside a giant robot suit of armor.
Yeah. It's funny because like 10 minutes ago we were bitching about the realism of Destiny. And you know, it's like I'm complaining about this, but now we're saying you can't complain about this.
I'm not holding that against Destiny.
No, I know. That's not the reason why you're not going to buy it.
It would be cool if the moon
or if there was
different.
There was a
reason to go to the moon.
It would be well, there are reasons.
Like I like it when like things have a sense of place and time and purpose.
It would be cool if they said, okay, here's realistic physics mode, guys. And you could just go there with realistic physics and be like, bounce, and then you disappear. And that's the first thing everybody does is they jump and they float away. And once they get, so far up where they would start breaking the terrain, they just don't.
So anyway, so Superman is this guy, and so he has to have the line, even more so than Batman.
Yeah.
Because I always maintain that if Batman was real, because everyone always says Batman's the only superhero that could be real.
He's the most realistic of the superheroes.
If Batman were real and we found out he was Bruce Wayne, we'd lock his ass up.
Probably, yeah.
And say, like, you are almost as bad as the Joker. Because you do all this shit and you have that one rule that they know they can exploit.
Yeah.
Like, you're basically responsible for everyone the Joker has killed after the first time you caught him and put him in jail. So we would lock him up. We would say, you're nuts.
I mean, but...
we don't want you out here playing with the rest of us in reality.
Well, but here's the thing, right? Like, you say that, oh, you're responsible for this because you didn't kill him, right? Like, that's the thing. That's basically what you're saying. What you're saying is, for, like, if you had regular Joe policeman who caught... we'll say, like, in the whatever decade it was, caught Charles Manson.
Yeah.
Before he convinced a bunch of people to kill themselves and all that other shit. But he didn't do anything about that guy. Like, he didn't kill him outright.
Yep. So
it's his fault that all those people died. It's that cop's fault.
So here's the difference.
How is there a difference?
We're not talking about fault. We're talking about responsibility.
So it's his responsibility that all those people died.
There's an important distinction to make.
Oh, okay. Let's go back to 1930-something. You find Hitler in a bar. You don't kill Hitler. Is it your responsibility to kill Hitler? Wait.
So has Hitler done anything yet?
No, Hitler started a bar fight.
Okay, but do I know that Hitler's going to make the Holocaust now? Like, am I time traveling back?
Yes, you're time traveling back. Is it your responsibility to make sure Hitler doesn't do any of this?
If I could time travel back in time and kill Hitler in a bar fight before he rose to Nazi power,
yes,
I would probably do it just to see what happened to the world when I came back.
It would. I'm sure there would.
Because there
would have been another world war. I'm sure.
How many time travel things that revolve around killing Hitler?
All of them.
I would
stop the Kennedy assassination, kill Hitler, and
I would probably do it because it's that great power, great responsibility thing.
Yeah.
Because you know what happens if you don't act. So, but the difference between the cop and Charles Manson, and all this other things, the difference is Batman knows Joker's going to break out.
Yeah,
because he always does.
Yeah.
So
But isn't it the responsibility of the people at Arkham to make sure he doesn't get out?
Yes, but it is also the responsibility of Batman to make sure that he doesn't kill more people. So there's the difference there. So
throwing around the blame.
Oh yeah,
that's all we do. It's just your fault. No, this is your fault.
So anyway, but back to the original point. That's why Superman doesn't kill.
Yes,
because Superman can. Because Superman could kill anyone he wants with a wave of his finger.
Or a blink of his eye.
Superman.
Yeah.
He has all the power.
He can do whatever he wants.
That's why they had to invent kryptonite, because they were like, guys, we kind of wrote ourselves into a corner.
We have to have something that makes Superman not so super.
Yeah. So in Man of Steel, when he kills Zod, which is really weird how he does it, because after probably the thousands of people that have died in collapsed skyscrapers from their fight, Zod's going to kill 3 people in a subway station, and that's what causes Superman to crack his neck open?
And one of them as well as fine? I don't know.
I mean, my favorite moment in comics is when Doomsday and Superman punch each other at the same time, because it's the most... For a narrative that revolves around a guy wearing underwear on the outside of his pants and coming from an alien planet and being able to fly everywhere and do all these awesome things, him and Doomsday punching each other at the exact same moment and both knocking each other out but not killing either one is the height of unrealism. You're just like, what? like the Clone Saga for Spider-Man comics is really bad, and I will never defend it. But like to me, that the dual punch is like even dumber. It is the writers going, oh crap, how do we do this? Because they both have to knock each other out.
I have no idea.
Anyway, so Injustice deals with the ramifications of Superman going, I have to kill the Joker. That like Batman's not doing this. And the Joker does something really bad, and Superman kills the Joker, and what that does to Superman, and how he becomes kind of a totalitarian dictator, and all these other awesome things that I'm like, this story's really good. And they gave Wonder Woman pants. Yay! Thank the Lord they gave Wonder Woman. The evil Wonder Woman doesn't wear pants.
No pants on
the good Wonder Woman wears pants.
Are you talking? You're talking about like the Russian Red Star, right? Like
no, this is different.
Oh, okay. Because I know there was like a Divergent comic book series
a Divergent
where
comic book series.
Superman and Wonder Woman were like in Russia.
Yeah, the Red Sun.
The Red Sun, yeah.
So instead of Kansas, they land in Russia, which that's also really interesting.
Yeah. Because it's a communist weapon.
But and I think one of the coolest things that happened recently in Superman comics, and it hasn't even been that recent, is when he denounced his U.S. citizenship because he realizes he's
born here.
He's like the ultimate nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
So he can't really be like, for world peace to happen, you can't.
He can't have a
He has to remove himself from the equation, which it's really cool on how it looks at like Superman as a weapon.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of is an unstoppable force. I mean,
yes, except for one thing. That seems to be in the hand of every one of his villains.
Everybody has a piece of this planet
somewhere there's
destroyed.
a kryptonite flea market every Thursday.
Yeah.
Like,
Parasite
just shows up and is like, oh, here we go. It's $5 like an ounce.
Yeah.
It's less than it seems. It's
cheaper than weed.
Yeah, there's enough kryptonite in the DC universe. It seems that it would be cheaper than weed.
Oh, that's so terrible.
Anyway, but so the story's really interesting, and then like how like the other heroes kind of like band with Superman because he's like.
They're like, we're doing screw the Joker and all his friends.
We're instilling order because this has to happen.
Yeah.
And to me, as a Marvel fan. Like, that reeks of Ultron. Of, like, Ultron going, humans are the problem. The world would be fine without you guys.
Yeah.
So, like, we need to... the only way to instill order is to get rid of you.
Yeah.
And eventually, in Injustice, that's kind of what it breaks down to. And there's weird alliances that pop up. You know, Harley Quinn and Batman are on the same team. I love Harley Quinn. At one point, Joker and Batman kind of team up, you know. It's funny, they make this little pill with Krypton nanomites that everyone gets so that it makes sense that, like...
Everybody can beat on Batman or Superman?
Yeah, so, like, no offense, but if Superman punched the Green Arrow, there would be nothing left.
Yeah.
There would be a smear.
Just a explosion of red mist, and that's it.
Yeah, it's like, that's kind of why I like Marvel Comics. Like, the only character as strong as Superman in Marvel Comics is the Hulk. You know,
and he can't control it.
And he can't control it. Yeah. So like, very cool. And even when the Hulk can control it, he's not as strong as when he can't.
Yeah, because he's not in full blind rage mode.
Yeah, when he's in full blind rage mode, he only gets stronger.
Yeah, because the madder he gets, the stronger he gets.
Like Thor's not as strong as Superman, even with Mjolnir, the hammer.
It's just really funny to see like the different interpretations of all these comic books coming into movies and video games and things like that.
As Comic-Con,
some of them are terrible. Some of them are great. Some of them are just like, that's what we.
Some of them are very middle of the road, like Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I really love because they both tap into why Spider-Man is important to me. But as movies, they're not as good as like Winter Soldier and The Dark Knight. You know.
Yeah. No,
I would say they're both as good as Dark Knight Rises.
That's the first one, right?
That's the third one.
That's the third one. Yeah, I've seen them all.
That's where Batman won't kill Bane, so then Catwoman runs him over. Well, I laughed in the theater when that happened. Because Catwoman like pops up, they're like, "What?" Like
he needed to die.
That had to happen. Like just because you don't have the balls doesn't mean the woman doesn't.
Yeah.
That's why I was like the Punisher, because to me the Punisher is Batman like without the money and with like
with no rules and no money.
Yeah, the Punisher is Batman without the money and the extra brain cell that you needed to make that jump. Like, oh wait, no, they do have to die.
Yeah.
There needs to be better Punisher movies out. I'm really hoping with this Netflix series where they're doing Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones. I'm like, okay, good. So next season, when you guys do this next time,
what is
Punisher, Moon Knight, they're just gonna be called Daredevil, Luke Cage, and then the team up is called the Defenders.
Oh, okay. So I might have to check that out because I'm a little upset with Netflix as of late. Apparently, and I guess this is a thing, but we were watching. That's not right. You have to look at the screen. For whatever reason, it's at almost 30.
Okay.
Wow,
I got really white there for a second.
Well, it's because the light's coming in a weird angle, so it looks like we're more. Like if we were sitting right here, Morticia's eyes would light up. Netflix is like, because I watch Supernatural, right? Like I like that show. Occasionally, I'll just put it on as background noise at work. The first season, they stripped all the classic rock out.
Well, yeah, because they don't
have licensing for the music anymore.
But yeah, that's on the DVDs too.
No, it's not on the Blu-rays. Like if you buy the Blu-rays prior to a certain point,
but that's not Netflix's fault.
I know. It's not their fault, but it just bothers me because in that show in particular, that is like a character in the show because it.
Once again, not Netflix's fault.
No, I know. It bothers me and it sucks. It makes me sad.
It's alright. So anyway, I'm really enjoying the story of Injustice, and it's odd that we have to go to a what if Elseworlds version of the DC universe for it to be interesting to me. Yeah, well, I mean, some of those side stories are pretty good, right? Yeah. When they were doing Civil War, there was a lot of really cool shit that was
came
Marvel.
Well, no, but I understand. Comics in general.
Oh yeah.
When they do those alternate reality things, those
Civil War is not alternate reality.
That was straight canon.
That's true. Civil War is canon.
Except everybody forgot Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Well, and okay, so here's the two things that
they retconned.
The two things that got retconned. One, Peter Parker and Mary Jane sold their marriage to the devil so that Mary Jane could be safe, so everyone would forget. Mary Jane and Aunt May, everyone would forget that he was Peter Parker. Because they kept going, because the Kingpin went, wait, you're Peter Parker? Screw that. I'm going after your wife and your aunt. Because I obviously can't kill you. This is why you put the mask on in the first place, you retard. So basically,
that's such a dumb retcon.
the devil offered. They were like, "I'll sell you our, sell me your marriage, and I'll erase it." And they were discussing it, and then they decided they didn't want to do it. They went to Doctor Strange, and Mary Jane had the brighter idea and said, "Wait,
you're Doctor Strange."
And yeah, she said, "Wait, cast this spell, make sure basically take our marriage, but have Peter think that it never happened, so that she knows everything."
Yeah.
So she jumps out of the spell at the last moment because Mary Jane's smart like that.
Gotcha.
But that was also part of the publisher deal. Is the publisher wanted to break up that marriage, had been wanting to break up the marriage for
a long
years.
Time, yeah.
And now the best thing in Spider-Man comics for me right now is the kind of will they, won't they. As Mary Jane and Peter Parker try and get back together, or don't, or they're dating other people and stuff happens. But they're still the most important people in each other's lives. So the other thing was, obviously, Iron Man knows everyone's secret identities.
Yeah.
And
but that was fixed with Doctor Strange, right? So
no, that was fixed even better.
Oh.
That was fixed in the most Iron Man way possible. So he has everyone's identities and everything.
It sounds
and eventually Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, takes over S.H.I.E.L.D. Through a weird array of things. And everyone hates Iron Man. Everyone thinks Stark Tech is all virus-infected and horrible. So Iron Man does the only thing he can do, and he downloads the list of everyone's secret identities into his brain.
Okay.
And says basically, it will only live in my brain. So then he realizes it can't live in his, it's too important to be out there.
Yeah.
So he formats his brain.
And do you have to relearn everything, or just that bit?
Basically...
He just deletes that folder.
Yeah, basically Tony Stark has been backing himself up off and on for years. So there's this whole kind of most wanted man on the run thing as he's going to all these spots that are the backups, trying to keep the Green Goblin and S.H.I.E.L.D. and the U.S. government off his tail. It is infinitely better than what happened to Spider-Man. It was like one of the best like Iron Man comics in a very long time.
Oh, that
and it was
sounds
like
really
I was like,
silly.
this is awesome.
It sounds really, really silly.
Because he gets to the point where he can't eat and like because he's basically a baby, like he's basically a vegetable and like.
And is there anybody there to help him?
Brain. Yeah, Maria Hill,
okay,
Robin from the Avengers,
Robin Shabbatsky.
And Pepper Potts.
Okay, so he's got two people helping.
He's got the ladies. But basically, and he has to rebuild his company from the ground up. He has to rebuild his mind from the ground up. It's really fun and cool. Like infinitely better than.
Here, Doctor Strange.
It was funny. It was so the first thing was One More Day was when everyone thought that they sold their marriage to the devil. And then One Moment in Time is when they went back and retconned the devil part with the Doctor Strange part. And the One Moment in Time, it was all written as omit. It was kind of like Marvel, like, tipping the hat, like, we wanted to do this, we know you're not stupid, but we couldn't think of a better way for this to happen.
We're retconning the crap out of this whole thing.
But yeah, so Civil War basically happened. And, like, a lot of part was Tony stopped backing up his brain before the start of the Civil War.
Yeah.
So... the superhero Civil War. So when he eventually gets his brain
back.
fully back and realizes what he's done, like the next year in Iron Man comics is him trying to make up for it. Because like so many people died because of his actions. And the cool thing about Civil War was that both Tony Stark and Steve Rogers were right. You know, superheroes do need to be trained and registered because they do have more power than the rest of us.
Yeah.
And like the only way normal people will feel safe is if we have some sort of oversight. But the same
so it's like a sexual predator list, except it's the superhero list.
Yes, basically. So
hi, I'm a superhero. You have to knock on everybody's door around the office.
Not as bad as that sound.
Everybody around your block. I'm a superhero.
Well, because look at superheroes like Cannonball the Mutant. Like he can blow up. You know, basically that's his power. Like the people standing next and the people in the cubicle next to you might need to know that.
You need at least a 3-cube radius around him.
But at the same time, like Captain America, Steve Rogers' point is that. That's not free. Like if you start, if we register, we're working for the government, and if you're working for the government, we're soldiers, and these people can't be soldiers.
Some of them, yeah.
Like that's only there was only problems with that.
Yes.
And Steve Rogers, maybe Wolverine, are the only two people that understand that the most in the Marvel universe.
Well, let's see. Wolverine's at least 200 years old. So.
Yes. And Steve Rogers, you know, as the only public superhero before. So the Civil War registration coming out and saying, no, this is bad. This is really, really bad. But yeah, so DC, on the other hand, they've had stuff like that, but at the same time, like, the DC characters are gods. Like, Marvel has a bunch of superheroes, DC has a pantheon.
Yeah, and you've said that before.
And, like, DC, this Injustice thing, really fun. I highly suggest you pick it up if
it's still on sale.
Still on sale. I mean, $9, I think it was $9 for the PS4 and 3 versions. Which I think the only difference is the PS4 is 60 frames a second.
It's probably higher res textures and
super
better frame rate.
And then the Vita version's like $6 or $7. Which I was gonna get the Vita version, but then I was like, I already have the Vita version of Mortal Kombat, so I have like a Mortal Kombat on that.
You could play that game here, or you could play that game with different characters here. So and did that come with all the DLC? I mean,
yes.
You get like
Lobo and Zod, and although I really wish they would add those people into the storyline.
Just to see how they work out.
Just to see how Lobo like shows up on this planet, because Lobo is one of my favorite characters. Every time that I don't know who at NetherRealm Studio is really into what is it, Deadshot or something, Deathshot. Basically, him and Deadpool are like they're the same character with different color suits. But like
I know who you're talking
Deathstroke,
about.
Maybe?
Deathstroke, that sounds right. I don't know.
But like, of course, Deadpool is effing crazy. And this guy.
Well, you know, if you were Ryan Reynolds, you'd be crazy too.
If your brain kept getting destroyed and rebuilt.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I enjoy it. I probably won't play it competitively or against other people.
You had fun playing the story mode, and that was worth $9 for you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
And I recommend it because it's the most interesting thing I've seen out of DC Comics
in a while,
ever.
Yeah,
well, probably since The Dark Knight. I really liked some of the Batman graphic novels.
Yeah, those are alright, I guess. So, well, we probably should.
We'll see you next week.
So, see you guys later.